0.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are
I'm
those
not
of the
hearing
host
anything in
and
these
guests
headphones.
and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global
Jason?
Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon. So unless you've been living under a very large rock, I'm sure you would have heard by now of the arrest of the one Sam Bankman-Fried by Bahamian authorities after an indictment was handed down for his extradition to the United States to answer questions as it relates to this fallout from the collapse of FTX. This is big news, not just here in the Bahamas, but around the world, where everybody's talking about this. And in fact, there is, I think it just came to a close moments ago, a congressional hearing on the collapse of FTX, in which the star witness for the entire morning was Mr. John Ray, who you may recall was made the provisional CEO of FTX in this whole liquidation bankruptcy process. And you may recall that Mr. Ray is an expert in this area, having dealt with other collapses like that of Enron. And the hearing began a little after 10 a.m., just ended moments ago. I have to tell you all listening to this, my God, my God, my God, great God from Zion. Like my guest today would say, and I can bring him into the studio right now, like my guest today, my good friend Jerome Sawyer, would say, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Jerome.
Hey, Shelly.
Did you get a chance to listen to any of that congressional hearing today?
I was watching some of it at home before I actually made it into the office.
My God, my God,
it
my
is,
God.
It was sobering, to say the least, frightening in some ways. Yeah.
I was taking notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got 5 pages of notes. Yeah, I know how much of we can get through, but I got 5 pages of notes from this because eventually I had to stop to get ready to come here.
Yeah.
But the revelations that have been brought forward by Mr. John Ray in his testimony today are frightening, to say the least. And, you know, I asked Jerome to come on the show today because Jerome was the one local journalist who Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried decided to sit down with and talk to. I say hats off to you, Jerome, for getting that interview, because, you know, he was
Thank you.
avoiding the local press like crazy, and he was
Yeah.
handpicking the national ones he would talk to.
Yeah.
So kudos
Yeah.
to you and your team for snagging that interview.
Thank you. And literally in the nick of time. So yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, right after that, I think he did like one more interview with Forbes,
Yeah.
and then he get locked up. So
Literally
let me
1
ask
week
you
ago
this.
today is when we sat down with him.
Okay, so you've done that from them. We just aired it. Okay. While you were doing, and I'm gonna play a clip that you guys played news last night, because y'all just played a little snippet.
Yeah, we were actually
For,
teasing it.
for
We
your
teased a
audience.
couple. There are a couple clips out there that we were teasing prior to the interview, but we played one in earnest last night. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that with your permission, as well as
Sure.
or the report, I think was by Bethany McDermott, I believe, talking about Mr. Bankman-Fried and his activities. Okay, let me just start by playing that little clip from your interview with him, and then we can talk a little bit about, you know, your impressions from that interview. And I will say that I have pulled a clipping from the interview that he did with the New York Times prior to the interview that he did with you. I'm going to play some of that. I'm also going to play some clips from an appearance by one Mr. Michael Saylor that I think did an excellent job of breaking down exactly what happened here within a short period of time, because, you know, the congressional hearing started shortly after 10 a.m. I just finished just now. So you're talking hours of testimony. But these clips that I found with Michael Saylor succinctly breaks it down for you to understand exactly what went on here. But let's begin with the teaser that Jerome and his team aired during the R News broadcast last evening. Even that little short piece gave us some interesting revelations. So, Jason, is that audio ready? Okay, so we're going to go to that clip now.
How would you describe your relationship with Prime Minister Philip Davis and the Progressive Liberal Party government?
So, I've been, from everything that I've seen, he's been a great leader. He's been incredibly empathetic. He's been incredibly well-intentioned, and I think I've seen that with him. I think I've seen that more broadly with most of the government that I've interfaced with. And I think it's something that we saw, frankly, prior to the election last year here as well. I think we've seen it on both sides. It was an approach which was constructive, which was practical, which got things done, and which had the best interests.
Since the filing, have you spoken to the Prime Minister or any senior members of the government?
I've been, obviously in contact with the regulators here, with the Securities Commission, and that's been the primary point of interface, over the last.
Nobody from the government's side?
We've made sure that we are responsive to anything that comes down.
This boy say his lawyers told him that he should be quiet. He should have listened to his lawyers, because the more he talk, the deeper this hole he digging for himself. Now, Jerome, I am a person who likes to watch body language, and in the interview you, as well as the lengthy interview he did with the New York Times, I kept seeing this knee just bouncing. So that could indicate two things. It could indicate just plain nerves, or it could indicate fraudulent behavior. In other words, I lie into you, because the body can't lie. What come out of your mouth could be betrayed by what your body does. Body language is more reliable than what comes out of a person's mouth. What were your impressions watching this young man as you did this interview with him? Did you think that it was nerves, or did you think this cat straight up lying to me? What were your thoughts?
So I'll give you a little bit of the background. So prior to the interview, I had an opportunity to meet with his people to, discuss the possibility of this interview. As a matter of fact, we were first in the queue for the interview. We had been in discussions a really, really long time prior. Well, from the collapse. Not long after the collapse, I started this discussion, the possibility of getting the interview, and they'd even agreed to give us the first crack at the interview. And then, of course, you know how it is. The pressure from the bigger international networks comes, and of course, they caved to the pressure, but always said to us we'd have an opportunity to talk to her. And then said, of course, you will be the first and only local at this point. So we settled for that. I was told from the very beginning that he does have this tendency, or has this tendency, to do this twitch thing with his leg and a couple other things they tried to prepare me for in terms of the body language. Having not interviewed him before, I didn't know whether this was a new thing or whether this was a result of the situation he found himself in. As someone who interviews people, you're quite right, body language says a lot. And I realized that he was anxious and nervous about a lot of stuff, although afterwards his people told me that he was very comfortable in the conversation. And I'm not quite sure, what all led to that, although there were some things in the background which they agreed to and we agreed to sort of make it a little bit more comfortable for him. But he's under a lot of pressure. And he's in a lot of trouble. And I think that played out in the interview, which you saw in terms of the body language, was natural for someone who is facing the amount of trouble that he is facing. He realizes that, he's probably the most sought after man in the world, and not for any wonderful thing that he's done. And so many people are angry about him. I mean, angry with him, and even the level of security. They told us that people had gotten as far, or someone had gotten as far as the lobby of the condo. And so he is and was, I'm sure, fearful in a lot of ways. And at one point I asked him, he mentioned that he was nervous about something. And I said, are you nervous for yourself, or are you nervous for what will come out of this? And he said, he admitted that he was nervous, for himself and what was happening. And he realized that he was in a lot of trouble. Now, I don't know the man well enough to say whether he was lying, but I know that he was very guarded in some things that he had to say. I realized that he put a lot of thought into what he said. One of the questions I asked him to respond to the fact that people have accused him of being a master of public relations since all of this has happened, and someone who believes that he can convince the world of anything by just saying it. And he responded to that. But I realized that a lot of what he was saying was guarded in some ways, because he knew, I'm sure his lawyers and his folks around him told him that you're going to have to give an account for this very soon. And I think he was aware of some things that he couldn't say, and I saw it in some instances. So it was interesting to watch it play out, and I sat there a couple of times and I tried to prod him a little bit more on some things. But the problem with a story like this, as a journalist, that you would know too, is that it is so complex. And if you don't understand fully what you are about to get yourself into in an interview, then you can get yourself, really jammed up. So I had to spend a lot of time just trying to understand what happened. Right. And, he's saying in many instances that, he doesn't know what happened, and he doesn't have access to the information, and he can't give an account. And so there were a lot of unknowns. I thought we answered some questions, but there were a lot of unknowns, and still are. And like you said, I think the congressional hearing today, and even what's going to come out, if he's eventually extradited to the United States, that will be the story. I think right now what we are doing is just sort of scratching the surface of this story and what happened.
Well, let me tell you, it ain't no if. he can be extradited to the United States. He might as well make up his mind that he going to face them. Listen, the stuff that came out today during this congressional hearing is, I mean, just explosive to say the least. And, you know, I just saying, if it look like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it waddles like a duck, there's a strong possibility it be a duck.
Yeah.
And everything that came out today shows that this young man was, and I'm going to be very politically correct, disingenuous.
Mm-hmm.
And his stating that, well, I really didn't know, and this was an oversight, and it was just a mistake. And listen, boy,
I thought one of the things that was telling to me is, you know, when I asked, you know, what happened, how could you allow this to happen? The response he gave was that he took his eye off of what was important, which was the compliance and the regulation.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of broke it down by quarters. A quarter of my time is spent on, I think, product and development and other things. And, you know, I didn't pay attention to the compliance side of things like I should. And also saying that the relationship with Alameda should have ended a long time ago. That was one of the questions we brought up as well, you know, about whether he thought or what, you know, how much of the responsibility lie with Alameda and, you know, the connection between the two. And he admitted that, or said that, you know, the two should have separated some time ago. And so again, just a lot of unknowns still. And there is still, I want people not to forget Moonstone Bank. There's the curious question of Moonstone Bank. It came up in our interview. And I think when or if that story is fully told, there will be a lot of interest locally in what happened there, the principles involved, and there's just a lot, Michelle. It is so complex. It's the kind of, you know, that kind of story is the more you dig, the more you uncover.
Yep. Just keeps on giving.
Yeah, you're right. And I have to admit to you, like walking into that interview, and I can't take all the credit. I really was the face of the interview, but I have to use this opportunity to thank the producer of the show, who is our anchor and producer here at the station, Canino Knowles. So Canino has been working this story from the day it happened and has very intimate knowledge of what's involved. And he really did a lot of the research and preparation. And so I relied heavily on a lot of the information and the discussions that we had. And, you know, in this business, you got to know when to take credit and when not to. And he was able to provide a lot of context and helped us, you know, to really put that interview together. But there is still so much that we do not know. And then there is the political side to it. And I don't want us to get caught up in the politics of the Bahamas. Pardon me. There's global politics at work here as well.
Yep.
Because remember now, there are many jurisdictions which lay claim to FDX. They're not just operating here in the Bahamas. And of course, the United States is bringing him, or has requested his extradition, which then now raises the question of where was this fraud committed?
Well, one of the things that Mr. John Ray said today was that the fraud took place long before the November dates that Sam Bankman-Fried is given. This has been going on for a while. But something that I thought was very important that was brought up today, and I'm going to try to go through as many highlights as I can from today's congressional hearing. But one of those congressmen asked the question, why is it that the U.S. Department of Justice, who had that indictment available to issue from the 9th, waited until 24 hours before this boy was supposed to sit before Congress to testify to drop that indictment? In other words, why with the timing of that indictment, does it appear that they were trying to prevent this young man from sitting before that congressional hearing today.
One of the
They-
questions
Hmm.
One of the questions I put to him in the interview was whether he was still willing to sit before that congressional hearing, because I think when it was Maxine Waters who first raised it, he said
Right.
yes, that he would be willing. And we asked him again, and he said yes. So up to last week, Tuesday, he was still willing to testify.
Right.
Um,
And the long written testimony that he was going to give was leaked to Forbes. And so we have trust me, it's like pages upon pages long. So we have a copy of that. And I haven't had a chance to dig into that as yet. But one of the congressmen described it as insulting what that boy had planned to say to them. He said the first 2 lines he couldn't even say on air. I was like, whoa. So real quick, let me go through a couple of the highlights from today's hearing. And then we're going to take a break and come back with a clipping from that New York Times interview. But let me just give a couple of highlights here. From 2021 to 2022, there was a $5 billion spending spree. They were spending money like a drunken sailor, right? Whether it was buying properties or chartering planes to bring lunch from the US, or, getting themselves money, or anyhow, $5 billion. Between 2021 to 2022, they went on a $5 billion spending spree with other people's money. No audited statements for Alameda, none. 1.5 was paid amongst themselves. Okay, they paid themselves $1.5 billion. No internal controls or separateness whatsoever. There were 4 silos involved, all owned and operated by Sam Bankman-Fried. So this little Aki going around, well, I really didn't know. Save it. FTX problems did not happen overnight in the context of 1 week. These are all things that John Ray has said in that hearing today. SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, owned 90% of Alameda. There was no distinction of operations. Alameda had no insurance. Mr. Ray said he's never seen such a complete failure of corporate controls, utter lack of keeping, no internal controls. FTX, he said, was worse than Enron. He said it was unusual due to a lack of records. They used QuickBooks, Jerome. QuickBooks to manage billions of dollars. When he said they were using QuickBooks, the congressman did say, did you say QuickBooks? He said, yes, Mom, I did. He said, Jerome laughing. He said, not to knock QuickBooks, but when you talk about managing billions of dollars, I really don't think QuickBooks is quite adequate.
QuickBooks are a little $2 business. I know, but yeah.
This man was using QuickBooks, right? Communication was not via memo or letter or internal communication. They communicated using group chats with little emojis. Mr. Ray said that his whole excuse about everything being a mistake and oversight was not credible based on the evidence that he's come across. He said there was no sophistication, but an absence of management. What else did he say? Listen, like I said, I took pages upon pages of notes. It was just, I mean, I can't even describe, as he put it, it was fraud, point blank fraud. Somebody actually said during the hearing that all of these actions would make Bernie Madoff shudder. So, based on all of this evidence that is coming forth, and like you say, that's an onion that just you keep peeling. The more you peel, the more you got to peel. This young man is in some serious hot water because everything points to intentional fraud. And he was trying in every interview that I saw. I didn't get to watch your interview live. And then y'all took it down before I had a chance to see it. So I know you told me
we're
that
gonna
y'all,
repost it shortly. We just
yeah,
didn't want people teeth in it without our
understood,
permission. Yeah.
understood. But everything that he has said has been, oh, well, it was an oversight and I should have been paying more attention, and it was a mistake, and if I could do it over again. But yet every bit of evidence that is coming forward is pointing in one direction and one direction only: massive fraud.
I'm what I'm curious about, and I'm hoping that this will come out very soon. But where were the other adults in the room?
There were none. That's the problem.
Well,
There were none adults in the room. These were a bunch of little children playing Dolly House with other
well,
people.
that's what I meant. Like, where are the other folks who were in there with him as well? Because I will not believe that he is being set up to take the downfall solely.
It was said that they're going to go after some others as well.
I cannot
During that
see a
congressional
operation of that size and magnitude and reach, and all of the decisions and all of these actions vesting with one individual. It doesn't work like that. I mean, there are others who have to be culpable in this. Where are they?
In a legitimate business operation, it doesn't work like that. Now, like I said, they did say that they will be going after others as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
3 or 4 others as well. But he was pretty much the guy who the buck stopped with. And in spite of him trying to act like he really didn't know and he's so innocent, that he should have listened to his lawyers and shut the hell up. Because the more he talked, the deeper the hole he dig. And I don't know if arrogance is such a thing. And I don't know him personally, never met him. But he just comes across as someone who believes that he is so intelligent. There's this level of arrogance and he admitted, my lawyers have told me not to talk, but I don't see the value in that. Dude, my Grammy statement can't hear his feel.
One of the things that he admitted in the interview was that he got bad legal advice early on in all of this. Going back even to the filing of the bankruptcy, he in a nutshell said that he should not have filed for the bankruptcy when he did. I'm not sure how that has affected his interactions with his legal team since then, but I'm sure that given that situation and him claiming that he got bad legal advice in the beginning, maybe, and of course this is just speculation, maybe he is inclined not to listen as much. I know he's relying on those lawyers very heavily, or he's relying on his lawyers very heavily today in court on what to do, because there was an early adjournment for him to confer with his lawyers on how he would proceed this morning. So he is listening to lawyers now, but I don't know. It's difficult. I can tell you in dealing with someone like him to sort of understand always what is the motivation, and what is the driving force. I think he's a very smart kid who had a great opportunity to do something, and made some huge mistakes and was very reckless in what he was doing. But it's hard to understand. I think people comparing him to Bernie Madoff is one thing, but I think I don't know. My jury is still out in a lot of ways on what drives him and what is motivating him. So I don't know. It's weird because in listening to him, you can easily be drawn in, because he comes across as being genuine and authentic in his interviews. But only having met and interviewed him once, I can't make a judgment call. I cannot make a judgment call on him. But I am just so very fascinated as to how this is going to play out. I'm worried. And even though he spoke very highly of our Securities Commission and the compliance, and even the legislation that was put in place here for the crypto exchange, and admitting that was one of the reasons they were attracted here, And initially, the Bahamas wasn't even on his list of places, but based on the legislation and everything that was put in place. So he was highly complimentary, but I don't know if that really, carries any weight. But my concern continues to be the stain, the black eye that potentially this could bring to us as a jurisdiction. We have spent the last 20 plus years, and you would know this even more, trying to change our image as a tax haven and a place where there's bank secrecy and all these other things. I mean, and we see it by the constant attacks from the, from all of these international financial institutions who try to blacklist us and put all these things in place. And so successive governments here have been trying to change that narrative. And we know that. I mean, you know the reputation that we had in the 80s and even part of the 90s, and we've been really in earnest trying to change that. My worry is that this is going to set us back, if only in perception.
For sure. And some of that came out during that congressional hearing today.
Yeah.
We have to take a break. When we come back on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about exactly what went down. I'm going to play that clip from the New York Times interview, because Jerome said at the time that he interviewed SPF, he appeared to be worried. Well, in this New York Times interview, which was prior to Jerome's interview, he didn't get to that place yet, apparently. So we're going to play that clipping as well as a breakdown, making it plain and simple for you to understand just what happened. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim fix and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
What are you trying to get?
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5. Here, along with my guest Jerome Sawyer, we are talking today about the arrest of inmate 14372, also known as Sam Bankman-Fried, who was arrested by Bahamian authorities last evening with a view to being indicted, extradited to the United States. The Department of Justice issued an indictment for him to face charges in the United States over the collapse of FTX. And included in that indictment, you have wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit securities fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering, and more. It's quite a lot. And based on the testimony today of Mr. John Ray, he said he found it difficult to believe that we are dealing with conscientious ignorance for as long as the SBF was doing these activities. So in other words, he would want to believe that, this was just an oversight and a mistake. But based on the evidence that Mr. Ray provided today, this has been going on for an extended period of time. It only became known to the public in November, but this has been going on for quite some time. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line 8010271, 8010271, and that is for text messages. Do not send a voice note, text messages only. So I want to play a clip, Jerome. This is from the interview that he did with New York Times prior to the interview that he did with you. And in this clip, it is very clear that this young man, in the Bahamas, we like to say his talk on a two-sided him out. Well, I can just let the clip play for itself. So you can see how apparently duplicitous this young man was being in this interview. Let's go ahead and play that clip.
When things get really bad, they get really bad for all of the relevant things at once in a very direct and correlated and quick way.
I want to go back to the BlockFi acquisition for a moment. How much money do you think Alameda, I'd said that they had a lot of FTT, but that Alameda had borrowed from BlockFi at the time of the bailout?
I honestly don't know, but I would have guessed like 100 million, maybe a couple $100 million, but I honestly don't know the answer to that. I wasn't like running Alameda, I wasn't paying detailed attention. That's my guess.
And were you using FTT and Serum and other things to collateralize the loans at BlockFi, do you think? I mean, this goes to the whole idea of both the value of these things and also whether you were trying to buy BlockFi, in fact, to continue to support effectively Alameda or FTX.
Right. It might be. I would guess it was, but to your point, my guess is that like the amount paid for BlockFi was probably bigger than the amount that Alameda had opened with it. I don't know that for sure. Again, but I wasn't even looking at what that number was really. But I think that's about right.
I want to go back to the Alameda piece of it for just another moment, if you'd stick with me here. You had told investors and regulators that you were not involved in Alameda decision making, and yet in the case, Alameda invested $1.15 billion in Genesis digital assets without your consultation or approval? That's the question. And my understanding is you also served on the board of Genesis Digital Assets. And so I'm trying to understand how you wouldn't have been involved with Alameda.
So I was somewhat involved with venture investing, and that was done out of a separate entity than any of Alameda's proprietary trading, than its activity on FTX or other crypto exchanges. But I was consulted on some of its VC investments, including with GDA.
What are your lawyers telling you right now? Are they suggesting this is a good idea for you to be speaking?
No, they are very much not. I mean, the classic advice, right? Don't say anything. Recede into a hole. And it's not who I am. I mean, it's not who I want to be. I don't have. I think I have a duty to talk to people. I have a duty to explain what happened, and I think I have a duty to do everything I can to try and do what's right. If there is anything I can do to try and help customers out here, and I don't see what good is accomplished by me just sitting locked, in a room pretending the outside world doesn't exist.
You're in the Bahamas right now. Are you in the Bahamas because you think you can't leave?
No, I'm in the Bahamas. I have been in the Bahamas for the last year, and I've been running FTX from the Bahamas. Been running FTX Digital Market, our primary operating entity down here. With Bahamian regulators and others in contact. And right now, I'm looking to be helpful anywhere I can with any of the global entities that that would want my help.
Do you think you could come to the United States or go elsewhere?
To my knowledge, I could.
Have you thought about doing that?
I've thought about it, and I've seen a lot of the obviously a lot of the hearings that have been happening. I would not be surprised if sometime I am up there talking about what happened to our representatives, or wherever else is most appropriate.
How concerned are you about criminal liability at this point?
So I don't think that, obviously I don't personally think that I have, but I think the real answer is that's not, it sounds weird to say, but I think the real answer is that's not what I'm focusing on. It's, there's going to be a time and a place for me to sort of think about myself and my own future, but I don't think this is it.
Boy, he couldn't be more wrong about that. He, in that interview, stopped himself just short of saying, I don't think I have any liability. He was going to say it, and then he stopped himself. Jerome, do you really think he thinks that he did nothing wrong?
No.
I know you only sat down for that one interview. I
No.
get that.
I wouldn't. I certainly. He knows he did wrong. He has admitted. His first tweet said, I effed up. So he knows he did wrong. The question is, how much wrong? To what extent? And what is he going to really take responsibility for at the end of the day? Because he's chalking it up to the fact that he just wasn't paying attention, and so he sees that as wrong. But if these serious accusations and allegations are true, he did a lot of wrong, and I think you can't run from the wrong. The question is, what does he think he did wrong?
Good point. Good point. One of the congressmen said during the hearing today, he said, quote, "Don't trash Sam Bankman-Fried and then pass his bill." And the point was that this is not just an isolated case of fraud, but if you don't regulate this industry properly, you're looking at multiple multiple opportunities for this to happen. So it's not just about him, but about the obvious need for regulating the industry. Is that a call for the show? Yeah, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good day, God bless you today, Michelle. How you doing?
JT, what you saying, man?
All right, bless you, and thank God for life. And good day, Jerome Sawyer.
Good afternoon.
You know, Michelle, what I conclude, and I was very much relieved actually when I heard this morning that he had been arrested, particularly here in the Bahamas. And I too, like the two of you had mentioned earlier, I'm concerned about if not the long-term effects, certainly the short-term but heavy-duty effects regarding our reputation. Because, I mean, right now, I'm sure any Bahamian wants to go abroad now to try to do things in terms of business now. We're going to be scrutinized big time. We could be the most honest set of Bahamians going to do business, but they're going to look hard, may look hard and difficult on us because of the situation now that, has unfolded. The one thing I would want to observe, there's always a right way and a wrong way to do anything. And I think what Sam has shown the world today, and whether or not what I'm about to say is accurate or not, it's about perception, like you all mentioned a while ago. Mm-hmm. He has shown how reckless millennials in business can be. And I'll tell you why I'm putting it like that. Many millennials seem to be of this view that they no longer have to abide by moral rules and principles or ethical rules and principles because this is the new age now, according to them. Some of the attitude I've heard. They don't have to worry about the old landmarks that Grammy and Grandpa used to abide by: honesty, respect, integrity. So what he has done today, he has damaged, I think, the outlook in respect to how people will view, how the world or seasoned business people may view young business people. How old is he, by the way? Anybody knows?
30, I think.
30.
Right. 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, as a Bahamian and as someone who's 59 years of age, I see where this situation of his was a disaster in the making from Jump Street. Now that we're learning all that we're learning, and I didn't hear the hearing that came out that was done this morning, Michelle, but I'm going to endeavor to catch up with that on YouTube.
Yeah, it's long, but it's worth listening to.
He sounds like it, but Michelle, all that has been revealed only goes to show that Sam, as the CEO, as the founder, as the whatever he was, had no principles. That's what the other shows. Principles of good governance, principles of ethics. How could you hire a jet to bring lunch for you on monies, hard-earned monies that other people would have invested in you based on your promotion and the good faith and that they put in you?
Because we got it like that. Only your poor folks can't do that.
But Michelle, see, if wealth and richness make people stupid and unethical, then I won't be wealthy. Because wealth can't mean that you're stupid and you're unethical just because you got money.
Mm-hmm.
It really can't mean that. Because, Michelle, you got a lot of honest billionaires in the world today.
Yes.
Eh?
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I come back to the attitude of the millennials, Michelle and Jerome. Far too many of them have this idea that they could do whatever they like.
The rules do not apply.
Exactly.
I think you said it very well there, Michelle, and we see it a lot. The rules do not apply. And that's a norm. That's a cultural thing. And it's unfortunate because I think this is going to have an impact in many, beyond just what we see in the crypto exchange. I think this is going to set back and shake a lot of industries that are driven by millennial participation and involvement. And unfortunately, it's going to feed into another narrative that these young people ain't ready to take control yet.
And see, that's the damage he.
I don't know if
done.
that's the right narrative, but that is going to be a narrative.
Yeah.
But Jerome, whether it is the right narrative or not, the fact is he has done heavy duty damage.
Oh
The
yeah,
young
I think that we can all agree on that. And the damage is yet unseen, I think.
Yeah, they're going to have to live. They're going to have to live down the specter of Frank. They're going to have to live that down. They are going. Many honest young people, 20 and up, between 20 and 30, they now have an uphill battle, or may have. Not that they definitely do, but they may have an uphill battle. And in respect to the worldwide effects of this, Michelle, a lot of people may not want to understand or mean to hear this or believe this, but this is all going to be eventually result in a worldwide regulation and control.
Well, one of the shows that I did prior said exactly that people tell me that I'm the poster child for conspiracy theories, but my question has been this: how is it that this young man and his friends were able to do all of this without major players? I don't blame the mom and pop who put all their savings into this because they get swing by those commercials, etc.
Right.
But major financial institutions
that put in billions
of dollars, and they didn't see no red flags here.
Yeah, they should have known better.
People, you said people who should know better or seemingly are qualified.
If you go into the bank to open one account for $10,000, you got to take your arm, your leg, your
Michelle,
papers,
they can't listen. They will not give you $10,000 to open a business.
But you are going to put billions of dollars in the hands of these children who, number one, admit that they had a hard time getting a bank account early on in this whole process of establishing FTX. They couldn't get a bank account, so they created their own bank, in essence, right? No kind of controls in place whatsoever, no board of directors.
Jeez.
How is it that these major financial institutions would so willingly invest billions of dollars in this? I smell a rat.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
me too.
It ain't just Sam Bankman-Fried. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it, because it cannot be just
I
him.
said that. I said that to you from the beginning. There are others who are involved and culpable. Let's see how it plays out, but there are others who are involved. I'm sure.
Not just others in his circle,
No. There are. I'm not going to go any further. There are others involved. I'm going to go there.
No, well, you may be circumspect in how you say as a report. I get that, and I'm not going to call names. I mean, even if I knew names, I wouldn't have called them. But my thing is, for Sam Frankman, whatever it is, I can't ever get it right. For him to have $50 billion worth of investors' money. For him to have had that type of credibility and or support, somebody had to have been doing some serious influence peddling. Then one of the YouTube clips I came across some weeks ago said that because of Sam's connection with the Democratic Party in the United States, to which he donated about $50 million, a lot of people turned a blind eye to the things that he had been doing in the Democratic Party because they did not want did not want him to be touched, quote unquote. They would just, everything would look so rosy and so dandy. And the thing I would conclude on is this. Michelle, internal audits, external audits are all required for anybody when they're setting up a business. Your board of directors, like you just mentioned, you got to have those things in place, man. How in heaven's name, Michelle, could this boy have set up such a big business and not know from Jump Street he needed these checks and balances?
According to Mr. Ray, there were some statements for Alameda, but like he said in the hearing today,
Yeah.
I don't trust a single piece of paper in this organization. In
Ah,
other
well,
words,
can't
they say on paper they have this report,
Yeah.
but it ain't with the
But where's
paper
the
it's
proof?
written on.
Yeah, where's the proof?
And I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Yeah, where's the proof?
Yeah.
So
So
thank you for your time.
thanks for calling, JT.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerome, this ain't looking too good. This ain't looking too good. And what concerns me
No man,
most
no man.
is the reputational damage to the Bahamas, which they went in on us
That is
today in that congressional
yeah.
hearing.
Well, our I'm going to use the term loosely. Our friends in the United States, when it comes to discussing these matters and our financial services, they are historically unkind and unfair. And so we just need to prepare ourselves as a jurisdiction for more of the same. This is nothing new
And we're
when it comes to
to
dealing with us, particularly when it comes to these matters. They love to come visit, enjoy the beach, and but they are very unkind and unfair to us on matters of financial services in this sector and as a jurisdiction. And history will record that.
Yeah. We have another call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Lady Malcolm. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
And I'm wonderful. And Jerome, nobody covers the news better.
Good afternoon to you, sir. And only Michelle Malcolm could get me to come on a talk show, just so you know.
I totally agree. You see me, well, everybody doing what they want to in the Bahamas. I might as well plagiarize somebody else's statement and turn it over to you, Jerome.
No, sorry, I can't take that on, but thank you.
Listen, Lady Malcolm, let me tell you something. See, I went with bike when freed on the U.S. side, See, because let me tell you something about Uncle Sam. You don't thief or owe Uncle Sam a quarter. If he get a lead on to you, Uncle Sam gonna get you, no matter where you are in the world. He coming after his 25 cents.
But guess what, caller? I can let you finish right now. It was revealed in the congressional hearings today that the U.S. clientele only accounts for 2% of the of those who have lost money in this. The majority of people who have lost money in this are from all over the world, not the U.S.
But see, this is what I'm saying again, Lady Malcolm. All you gotta do is that's why I going down as low as 25 cents.
Right.
Even though it's 2%, you don't bother with Uncle Sam and his money. I might as well tell you, because if he get a lead with 1%, he coming after you, buddy. Now, whatever the rest of the world do, that's, you understand me? You see them fellas, them dumb foolishness in our water, and Uncle Sam going after them? Okay. Well, what I am really sitting down with my popcorn, I saving a little bit of popcorn, a little drink, a little hot dog for, I want to know involvement. I want to hear who involved on this end. You don't set up shop over here to the extent that them fellas set up shop, all them moves and all of that. You get run out of China, and Barbados or one of them tell them no, that look too shady, and they set up full shop here, and he ain't none us involved.
Well, one of the things, and then I'm gonna have to let you go because we got to go to a break. But one of the things that Mr. Ray said today was the question was specifically asked to him: did this collapse happen because it was in the Bahamas, or could this have been avoided if it was in the United States? And he said it could not have been avoided even if it was in the United States. At least he was honest to say that. But they went to town on the Bahamas in that.
Of course, it's open season on us.
I told you.
Good now, but just
Michelle,
Lady Malcolm, when they extradite like to the U.S., couple of need to go on that plane too. I gone.
Hi.
You want to say something, Jerome? I call this Chopsy, you know. What you was gonna say, Jerome? My God, my God.
Yeah.
You had started to say
Michelle, I'm going to have to bid you farewell. Unfortunately, I've got to. Yes, my apologies.
I know
I
you
got
did.
today's a very
Yeah,
pressing day. I've got teams to the courts and everywhere, so I got to jump in and get some stuff done. But thank
No
you for the
worries.
opportunity. I do apologize. I hope I was able to answer some
That's
good
okay.
questions. But today is a rough day, as you know. You're a journalist, and when you got teams out in the field, it's rough.
Well, you know, I'm prepared. I got some clips and stuff I'm going to play.
Yeah, I
and
know.
my
I know,
audience
and
knows.
your audience
So-
is well engaged, so I'm sure they'll be
Yes,
providing
they
you
are.
lots of commentary. Yeah, so thank you. I promise to come back another time, though. You do have my commitment to
sure.
come back another time. Yeah, but my apologies on that.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, eh?
All righty.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we are going to break down for you exactly what happened in a way that a 6-year-old can understand. Get ready for some serious revelation. And again, this isn't even from the hearing that just concluded a short while ago. This is from an interview with a gentleman by the name of Michael Saylor, who I thought expertly broke it down as to what exactly went wrong. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blasted loud.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company today On this Hot Topic Tuesday, we are talking about the arrest of one Sam Bankman-Fried, who is now in police custody. Well, he's in custody. I sent a message to our commissioner of police to ask him where he's being housed while he's awaiting extradition, but the commissioner didn't respond. I'm just curious to know if he is going to spend time at the Department of Corrections like anyone else that's been charged with a crime, or if they have special accommodations for him. I really don't know. And I'm trying to find out the answer to that question. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line 8010271, 8010271 for text messages only. So speaking of the text messages on WhatsApp, one person says, this is going to once again put a stain on the Bahamas. I hate whenever the Bahamas name is called. Do you think that any Bahamians would in this investigation? Well, time will tell, my dear. Time will certainly tell. All right. So for those of you who still are confused as to what happened, how did this all come about? Because for a lot of people who aren't familiar with this whole cryptocurrency movement around the world, this could be a daunting subject. You know, it's a lot to take in and a lot to understand and a lot to process. I get that. I came across an interview with a gentleman by the name of Michael Saylor, and I broke it up into two parts because it would have been too long to play in its entirety as one piece. And I thought that he did a really good job of explaining what went wrong. I need you guys to listen to this so we can all be on the same page to understand what really happened here.
Did the guys in the industry like yourself, the heavyweights, were you aware that something was going on at SPF or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have the Bitcoin community opposite the crypto community, and there's been a low-grade, sort of boiling guerrilla war between the two camps for the past 2.5 years. And Sam is kind of like the poster child of the crypto world, right? Sam makes billions of dollars on an unregulated exchange offshore. He makes billions of dollars issuing his own air token. He spends hundreds of millions of dollars giving to the crypto lobby and to politicians. And one of their messages is, Bitcoin is bad for the environment. It uses too much electricity, but not to fear. We have a staked air token, which does the same thing as Bitcoin, and it's environmentally friendly. So, we've always seen that going on. And I think that, the Bitcoin community would say, there's something ethically broken about being able to issue your own unregistered security, right? They call it committing the sin of shitcoinery.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So Sam and most of the people in the crypto world were always guilty of the sin of shitcoinery, or pumping and promoting unregistered securities. And that was obvious. I think, that was obvious to the chair of the SEC, to most politicians, right? The phrase that pops up over and over again is the vast majority of all crypto tokens are unregistered securities. But I think the diabolical twist in the FTX story that none of us saw coming, but it is particularly diabolical, is so Sam creates, $8 billion worth of air token with SRM and FTT. Then he issues himself locked token, secret locked token, marks it up on his balance sheet by another $4 to $8 billion and calls it $16 billion worth of collateral. Okay. Then he goes shopping for a bank to give him a loan against this. Well, if I took $1 billion of Apple stock and I went to a legit bank, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, I say I got $1 billion of Apple stock, they would say, well, we will give you collateral value for up to the amount you have, or 5% of the daily trading liquidity on a legitimate regulated exchange. So if you show me a security that trades $1 billion a day and you have $1 billion of it, I might give you $50 million of collateral value. And that means you could borrow $25 million against it at 50% loan to value, but I'm going to margin call you if it moves a tick. So it means, practically speaking, $1 billion of that legit security is probably going to give you $10 million worth of a loan.
On $1 billion.
On $1 billion.
That's 1%.
Okay, right? Because the gating factor is what's 5% of the trading liquidity of that token or that asset. Because if I have to dump that thing in the market, I want to sell the entire position without moving the price.
Sure.
Okay, so that's the traditional world onshore. What Sam did was generated $14 to $16 billion worth of Solana, FTT, Serum, and then he went shopping for a bank to give him a loan. But he didn't want, you wouldn't get a loan from Goldman Sachs on it. No one's going to borrow you money, at least no non-crypto company. So what he did was he went to himself. He runs a bank called FTX. He applied for a loan from himself. He granted himself the loan.
For a loan from himself.
Well,
right?
secretly applied. He didn't tell anybody, but when they say, well, Alameda had a margin account and the margin position was slightly bigger than I thought, what he means is, oh yeah, they pledged a few $1 billion of air token, gave themselves a $10 billion loan, and they extracted, even if he had pledged $15 billion worth of air token, giving yourself a $10 billion loan means that you gave yourself about 100x the collateral value you would have got on a regulated exchange onshore. So what he did was, in essence, extract $10 billion of real stuff, dollars, Bitcoin, saleable assets, and he pledged $10 billion worth of air token stuff. And of course, it's a double diabolical thing. Here's the problem. So I create a token, I have 300 million tokens, and then I basically trade it with myself. Like I give it to you and you work for me and you give it back to me. Then I lean on it, so I lever it up 10 to 1. On FTX, you could lever it 20 to 1. Then I borrow your money, you're a depositor, so I take your money, you have $10 million, I lever it up 20 to 1, I have $200 million, I buy my own token, I drive my token up by $5, $5 times 300 million makes me 1.5 billion in collateral. I post the collateral, and then I withdraw $1 billion of 100,000 people's money. I put it in Alameda, and then Alameda gives a $3.5 billion loan to Sam, right? He gave $3.3 billion to either himself or his personal family holding company. So here's the diabolical twist. I didn't just generate $10 billion of an unregistered security to dump it on the unsuspecting retail. That would take me 500 trading days, dumping 20 million a day, right? He didn't do that. What he did is he generated $10 billion in unregistered security and then just borrowed $10 billion secretly from his depositors and then went and gambled it, traded it, spent it, lost it.
How?
And that is it's particularly impressive.
Okay, so keep in mind that if you are a regular person who decided to give FTX a go, that their own terms and conditions said that they would not use your money to pretty much trade, invest in other things, etc. That your money was protected, okay? But clearly that was not the case. So you have to understand that when it comes to crypto, it has no inherent value other than what people are willing to spend for it. You need to understand that in this whole conversation. It really doesn't have a value until somebody decides, I want to spend $5 for this crypto token. I want to spend $10. And that is what determines its value. So with this situation, here it is that you have a young man who propped up his value, the value of his token. He propped it up by doing what Mr. Saylor just explained. And then a lot of people in Bahamian vernacular get swing because they see this value, which unbeknownst to them, he propped up behind the scenes. So they're looking at this value what people are willing to spend, and they say, oh, this is a good investment. And then on top of that, you have all of these major big time celebrities and endorsements. So you've got the partnership with the Golden State Warriors. You've got, I mean, billions of dollars was spent getting these people and entities to endorse FTX. And so you would have seen commercials with like Steph Curry. You would have seen people like Tom Brady and his wife investing millions upon millions of dollars in this. You would have seen people like Jordan and Shaq and even Klay Thompson, $250 million I read somewhere that Klay Thompson put into this. So, and then they went and they I think 130 million it was to gain rights to rename the Miami Arena. So they were spending money like crazy, getting all of these celebrity endorsements, big time advertising. And then they also started spending a lot of money, especially here in the Bahamas, I think over $300 million on property alone. They were, giving out money to various charities, etc. But the problem was, as Mr. Saylor would have explained, they were borrowing this money, which was real assets, based on an asset, if you want to call it that had no inherent value, even though the people who put their money into this didn't realize it didn't have any inherent value. And this is why what is being described that happened is being described as fraud, because as much as he won't play dumb and act like, well, I really didn't know what was going on. And no, you knew Jeff was going on. SPF, you knew. And the evidence that is coming forward now shows that it was impossible for him not to know what was happening. So you talking about taking people's hard-earned money, life savings, and it wasn't just big-time celebrities who got caught up in this. I saw, well, during the congressional hearing today, they were talking about how the Toronto Teachers Association, I believe it was, some teachers' pension in Canada put in $95 million into this. So their pension gone. I've heard of ordinary people who put all their life savings into this because it was being sold as this great thing. And this young man is this brilliant, young man that you should follow because he's just so intelligent and this is the next big thing. And this is a good investment, not realizing that he was using your real assets against something that had no real or very little tangible value. And this was not done by accident. This was an intentional act. Now, some of what came forward today from that hearing, and like I said, I took like 5 pages of notes, and I had to at one point walk away from it because I had to get ready to come here. So there's a lot more that I'm sure I would have missed. But they talked about today the fact that his parents may have been involved to some degree, that his father was giving him some advice, and that his family received payments. They talked about, let's see, they said that this is, from all indications, nothing short of old school embezzlement. It was described as today during the congressional hearing. And one of the things that they said was this may be new technology that they used, a new tool, but this was nothing short of old school embezzlement. Over $1 billion of crypto assets were recovered by John Ray and his team, right? Over $1 billion of assets. But yet, the losses accounted for over $7 billion. And they are taking issue with the fact that $300 million was removed, some of it going to Bahamian authorities, some of it hacked. And Mr. Ray said that they're trying to determine that it was a combination of both, that somebody did hack the system and removed quite a lot of money. And then the Bahamian authorities also, with the assistance of Sam Bankman-Fried and his cohorts, access some of those funds to and we've heard about that in the news. And it was revealed that Sam Bankman-Fried and his inner circle had backdoor entry or backdoor keys that they could go in and remove funds behind the scenes without their investors really realizing what was happening until it was too late. So all of this raises a lot of red flags. This raises a lot of red flags as to, just how far-reaching this alleged fraud was. And unfortunately, the Bahamas is right mixed up in this, even though our authorities would have you to say that, well, this is, you can't put this at the blame of the Bahamian government, and we're doing our best to try to salvage the situation. The timing of when that $300 million was taken out and the revelation that some of that was at the request of the Bahamian authorities, boy, they went in on us today because they say this little fishy. This is a little fishy here. Whether it is or not, the point is that is the perception that something untoward may have happened as a result. So, like I said, the hearings started at 10 a.m. They ended just before I came on the air at 2. So there's still quite a lot to go through, and I'm going to try to go through all of it in detail with regard to future shows to bring you guys up to date as to, some of the more concerning revelations that came forward. But as is said in this clip, the second half of that interview with Mr. Michael Saylor, what we see here is a problem that is not isolated to Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, but a problem in general as it relates to this whole cryptocurrency system. And that is a problem of greed, arrogance, and foolishness. Here now is the second clip with Mr. Michael Saylor describing that.
The Bitcoin maximalist would say that the problem in crypto is greed, arrogance, and foolishness. Okay, anybody that's investing in it is either greedy, arrogant, or foolish. So there's 3 constituencies that got taken for billions of dollars here. The VC investors put $2 billion into an offshore exchange. The exchange, just to be clear, was unethical and illegal from the very beginning. It's illegal to do what they did in the U.S., and it's unethical if you think I am front-running my customers, issuing a token, manipulating the price of the token, dumping it on them.
If you did that in stocks, you're going to jail if you front-run. It's not.
It's absolutely illegal.
Yeah.
Right. FTX was its own regulator, its own market maker, its own exchange, the issuer. right? All at the same time. This is such a and the hedge fund, too much conflict of interest. So, but the three constituencies are the VC that put the $2 billion into FTX. They were supporting basically an offshore, unregulated casino, running in opaque fashion, a counter the interest of its own customers. They didn't ask for a board seat. They didn't do due diligence. They were chasing what they thought was insane gains, right? FTX is showing a company that goes from 50 million in revenue to 500 million in revenue to $1 billion in revenue, and they thought they just had the next great thing. So, Sam lies that any con, right, is like, I think I'm getting a deal that's too good to be true, and the con man is lying to me. We're all lying to each other, and so that's the first $2 billion goes down the drain. There's another $4 billion or something like that in just loans made by crypto industry. I think Alameda borrowed hundreds of millions and billions of dollars from Genesis, from Three Arrows, from Voyager, from Celsius, from BlockFi, etc. So it's like if you start with this fiction that FTT is a real thing. If I create, again, like yo-yo token, and I manipulate the price up to $10 billion by trading 2% of the float, if you think it's a real thing and I act like it's a real thing, then I pledge it as collateral and you give me real stuff for an air thing. And so there's like $4 billion of that, and they went and they lost half of that. That was part of the reason that Voyager and BlockFi going bankrupt. And the reason that Sam wanted to bail them out is he didn't want to actually have the loans called, right? He was actually trying to buy BlockFi and buy Voyager with FTX equity, which of course is fraudulent and worth nothing. But if I borrowed $1 billion from a company and they want the money back, and I can simply give them $1 billion of equity, take over the company, and not pay the loan back, I can roll the entire fraud forward. So that's the second. The third is, this is also diabolical. FTX said, we're built by traders for traders, and Sam bragged that they only charge like 3 basis points trading fee, and he was 30 times cheaper than Coinbase or much cheaper than Binance. So he's stealing customers off of the other crypto exchanges by, in essence, offering near free trading. He's not trying to make money off the trading. He's trying to actually get the assets on his platform, because once he had the assets on his platform, he basically used FTX like his own personal piggy bank. It's like there's $10 billion there. Everybody else is going to get wiped out if their margin positions trade down 20% for a minute. Except Alameda. Alameda has God mode. They never get margin called. So in an exchange, like in the U.S., it's illegal to go more than 50% loan to value. That means you're kind of like, you start with $1 million, you borrow $500,000, you're 1.5x levered. Okay, well, FTX started with 100x leverage, and then they backed it down to the responsible 20x leverage, which means that you post $1 million and you can take a $20 million
insane. Okay. Who allows that?
Now, here's the insane. What if I put $1 billion of air token, FTT, on the exchange? I recognize you and I let you take a $10 billion bet. Like, whatever, you took a $10 billion bet, now you withdraw $4 billion of real cash and you use that to buy property and buy everything under the sun. So Sam basically, he scraped billions from unsuspecting investors in Silicon Valley. They should have known better. He took billions from crypto hedge funds and crypto banks like BlockFi and Voyager. They should have known better. And then he took probably $10 billion or more from depositors on his exchange. They have the best argument. It's like they were staring at terms and conditions that said he's not going to rehypothecate or use their assets, and he just, he lured them with the promise of cheap trading, high leverage. And, if you thought, well, Sam is manipulating the price of FTT and Serum and Solana, and he was, right? That's illegal and unethical, right? It's a pump and dump scheme. We talked about this before. But if you accept the idea that crypto tokens that are issued by some offshore, dude are okay, then you're thinking, well, I guess I want to go buy some of that and get behind Sam and Alameda because they're going to drive the price up And I think Solana went from, $3 to, what did it go to 50? It went way up, and FTT went to $50 a token or something. So you could have made a lot of money trading those tokens, but you probably would have wanted to go to the FTX exchange because, guess what? Newsflash, it's illegal in the US.
Oh, boy. What a time in Dumfries Church. Guys, we're going to take a break. I know it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. It's a huge elephant we're trying to cut up bit by bit by bit to digest, right? But we're going to take it one bite at a time. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we're going to now look at the fallout from all of this, both for those who promoted it, because now some of them being sued. I see there's a lawsuit now that is even, I saw information circulating about a lawsuit here in the Bahamas for those here in the Bahamas who would have lost money in this. And then there's the implications for the government of the Bahamas and for the reputation of the Bahamas. We're going to talk about all of that on the other side. Stay with us.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Youngevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Youngevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim fence and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blasted love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company on this Hot Topic Tuesday. We are talking about the arrest and indictment of Sam Bankman-Fried, who in all likelihood will be extradited to the United States to answer charges as it relates to what many are calling fraud surrounding the collapse of FTX. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for text messages only, 801-0271, 801-0271. If you haven't already done so, I would like to suggest that you like and share the show. For those of you who are watching on Facebook or YouTube, I'd appreciate it if you let everybody know that GPS is on the air. You know, we attempt every day to go a little deeper than just what is on the surface of the issues, where we try to do our homework and dig out relevant videos and just to give you a full perspective of the matter that we are discussing. And this obviously there's so much material out there when it comes to this particular issue that I had to sort of narrow down what I would present to you guys today. And clearly, I didn't have sufficient time to actually pull clippings from that congressional hearing that took place earlier today, where Mr. John Ray, who is the acting CEO that was appointed for liquidation purposes, bankruptcy purposes, testified before a congressional committee today in the United States. And boy, did some explosive information come forward. Now, as I would have said prior to the break, a great deal of money was spent by FTX on getting celebrity endorsements, including one Mr. Kevin O'Leary, whom you would know from Shark Tank. He's one of the sharks on Shark Tank, and that's a very popular show where people go in and they pitch ideas and to these investors, multimillionaires, and then the investors get to compete with each other to see who will give the person a deal if they choose to do a deal with the person. And because of the popularity of that show, the investors who appear on that show are held in high regard. People believe that they know and understand what it is and how to make money. Many people went in there and pitched gave them their best pitch, and they said no. And then when they break down the numbers, etc., they say this is not viable, I'm out. So whenever you see the likes of a Kevin O'Leary endorsing a particular business, people will follow him just by his reputation of being a shark on Shark Tank. So he was paid to endorse FTX, and he also invested some of his own money. And now I think he and others like him realize that they too, in fact, I think a lawsuit has already been filed against all of these celebrities who endorsed FTX. And I think they're realizing now that they too could be in a little bit of hot water. So O'Leary is now sort of changing his narrative on this whole situation. I can just play the clip and let y'all hear it for yourselves. This is the latest now from Kevin O'Leary as to why he invested in FTX.
I want to understand how much money you lost in the context, but I also want to understand how the investment and this ambassadorship happened at the time that it happened. You did disclose it, but I want to understand how you went from calling crypto garbage at one point, as you know, to deciding that this was something that you were going to stand behind.
Yes, I recall that conversation, calling it garbage, right here on this show in 2017. That was a time when a New York hotel was being tokenized here, and I was looking at that, and the regulator let me know they were not happy with that idea. And that's when I stepped away from this, because clearly the regulatory environment was not prepared. Then facts changed. I saw the Canadians issue the first ETF with Bitcoin as underlying, Ethereum, then Switzerland opened up, then Australia opened up. And then I said, wait a second, world's changing, I got to be an investor. And that started my journey. I'm an investor in the largest regulated exchange in Canada. called WonderFi. The wallets are called BitBuy. We're regulated by the OSC. I have my accounts up there. Right. But I felt that getting involved when I was approached with Sam Bankman-Fried, that I could get an inside seat on what was considered then. And I gotta tell you, the institutional interest in FTX on the U.S. equity was unbelievable. The amount of people that approached me saying, how do I get a piece of this deal? And I said at that time, I am a paid spokesperson. I cannot bring you as an LP. Not a single dollar that I lost is anybody else's money except mine. That's important for me because that's an issue.
How much were you paid?
Total deal was just under $15 million, all in, including a bunch of agents that I had to pay because I needed SAG after release to be able to do commercials for it, and when I did that. I put about $9.7 million into crypto. I think that's what I've lost. It's all at zero. I don't know because my account got scraped a couple of weeks ago. All the data, all the coins, everything. So then I lost the money I invested in the equity as well. Those are zeros too. It was not a good investment, Andrew, okay? I don't make great investments all the time. Luckily, I make more good ones than bad ones, but that was a bad one.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. When you made this arrangement, this is back in August 10th, 2021.
Yeah.
You said the following. You said, to find crypto investment opportunities that met my own rigorous standards, that was your phrase, of compliance, I entered into this relationship with FTX. It has some of the best crypto exchange offerings I've seen on the market.
Yes.
Given that you were the spokesman and ambassador for this company,
yes, because
what kind of diligence did you do around this issue of compliance, given where we sit today?
I obviously know all the institutional investors in this deal. We all look like idiots. Let's put that on the table, okay? We relied on each other's due diligence, but we also relied on another investment theme that I felt drove a lot of interest in FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried is an American. His parents are American compliance lawyers. There were no other American large exchanges to invest in if you wanted to invest in crypto as an infrastructure play. So many of us said, wait a second, who's coming to this deal? We knew, for example,
this sounds like Tiger. This sounds like groupthink. Did you know there was no CFO?
Look, at the end of the day, to say that there was no CFO is also a bit of a falsehood. This was a nascent industry with a disruptor at its helm, creating positions that didn't have traditional names, okay? That's just the way it was. In retrospect, yes, it's a mistake. However, I feel obliged at this point to go to the end of this, particularly...
What does that mean?
It means that I need to find where the money went. I'm going to start with my own journey, with my own account. Bankman-Fried reached out to me last Saturday, and I said, look, Sam, I am just one investor, but my account has a zero in it, and there are no accounting records. Where did the money go? And to the extent you can help me, tell me, point me in the direction, because I will, on behalf of every other shareholder, go find where this money is. The next day we talked for over an hour, and he walked me through his scenario, and I learned a lot.
Now,
sorry?
What did you learn?
I learned, first of all, I said, what was the large drawdown of your capital? Where did the cash go? One of the biggest uses of cash was to buy back his shares from Binance, which owns 20% of his exchange. And the reason he had to do that, according to him, was that every time they applied for a license anywhere, the Know Your Client got jammed up with Binance, where the ownership is opaque. And he had to buy it back. That cost him a lot, a couple of $1 billion.
But do you think that he was taking customer funds to do that?
Yeah. Did he take that money from customers to get it?
Well, the only way to answer that question, and I told him, and he agreed. I said, look, Sam, you start this journey with me, and wherever the chips fall, that's on you. Because, we're talking about this. I'm going to pursue it. I agreed last night when Pat Toomey called me to sit on that committee next week. I will be a witness there.
You plan to testify?
I've agreed to testify. He called me last night around 8 o'clock. I agreed to testify. I've spent a lot of my time on the Hill.
Yeah, y'all, this is getting curiouser and curiouser by the minute. Don't be surprised if you see other big names backtracking. backtracking, because they realize now that they too could be facing some serious backlash as a result of their involvement in all of this. So yeah, this is boy, this is something else. This is something else. And unfortunately, right in the center of all of this is the Bahamas. Again, I thought it was important that John Ray said during the hearing today that this would have happened anywhere. We can't put the blame of this happening at the feet of the Bahamas because of their jurisdiction not being as stringent as ours. He did say that this would have happened anywhere. And I was relieved to hear him say that. And yet there were several persons, several of the congressmen and women, who made it a point to say that, could it be that this young man chose the Bahamas for the very reason that he thought that he could get away with more in the Bahamas than he would have been able to get away with here in the United States. That's the narrative that they're putting out there. So we obviously have some work to do to try to clean up our reputation. And we have to get ahead of this before this goes any further. What does that look like? We're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. We got to pay bills, y'all. Got to give props to my sponsors. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to look at what the Bahamas government or regulators or attorney general or whomever, what we should be doing to try to get ahead of this so that we don't suffer more than we need to reputationally. We'll be back after these messages from our sponsors. Stay with us.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with mailboats U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
And we are back. So the question being raised now is, what can the Bahamas do to protect its reputation? Because trust me, we're getting a serious black eye thus far. In this report by our news, it looks, well, the opposition is charging that the government is not doing enough in that regard.
At present, we are still not doing enough to defend ourselves internationally and in the international community from the fall of FTX. It is all connected.
The Free National Movement is lambasting the government, suggesting they need to do more to protect the country's image. Recently, Attorney General Ryan Pinder sought to defend the government's handling of the collapse of the crypto giant while seeking to clarify admissions he called false.
We are being called all manner of things from all manner of people. One speech from the Attorney General is not enough.
Last month, following a liquidity crisis, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas froze FTX's assets and applied to the Supreme Court to put the company into liquidation. Among his final acts as FTX CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the U.S. on November 11th, which followed his resignation.
Has the government consulted with industry on how we manage our international message? Has the government met with the opposition? I can tell you no, they have not.
While contributing to the National Investment Funds Bill 2022, Thompson also asked why hasn't there been an update on the status of the investigation. This prompted a point of order from Acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper.
Madam Speaker, you ruled on this matter.
Yeah.
And we determined from that ruling that this was not a matter that this House would litigate.
Yes.
And therefore, Madam Speaker, I believe he is in full defiance of your ruling, Madam Speaker.
House Speaker Patricia DeVoe then asked Thompson to deviate. However, during his contribution to the debate, Opposition Leader Michael Pintard reaffirmed the point.
It is the most infantile approach to public discourse that I've seen in a very long time.
Okay, so just to bring you up to speed, Mr. John Ray has said that he does not believe that the bankruptcy processes should be consolidated, because remember now there's more than one going on. There's Chapter 11, and I think the Bahamas filed Chapter 15. He is of the view that they should not be consolidated because he said, quote, processes in the Bahama Islands are not a transparent process, end quote. Okay, so I want to leave you guys. I want you to marinate on that for a while. I want to leave you guys with the comments of a member of a chat group that I am on WhatsApp. I don't think he would want me to call his name, even though he posted this openly in the chat. And what he said was, my fellow Bahamians, please consider any way in which you can assist in making all who have a vested interest in this FTX matter to be mindful of some facts about this country. Let us all know that the Bahamas is a country with an ancient system of parliamentary democracy. And while one political party was responsible for the governance of our country, legislation was enacted to assist in the expansion of our second largest industry. It happened with the support of the then opposition party. By operation of a set of general elections, the roles of the political parties have changed, but the shared policy commitment to ensure that relevant systems work as intended has been reaffirmed by all concerned. Relevant political leaders on all sides have made public declarations of there having been proper conduct in terms of governance. In terms of regulating large organizations, the country has a lot of relevant experience. We have a legacy of a strong and independent judiciary. The bottom line, affected parties have considerable basis to believe in the Bahamas. Someone else responded in that chat. I would go further and say that we have extremely capable people in every area of government who have the wherewithal to help us navigate through this smoothly. That said, we can expect a number of things to emerge that are not yet widely known or even anticipated. And here's how I think we should proceed. 1, appoint a small team, perhaps 5 people, comprised of legal and financial experts to advise the cabinet. 2, hire an international PR firm. 3, remove individuals in government who may be conflicted in fact or appearance from having any official dealings with this matter. And 4, respond quickly and transparently to questions raised. One last thing, our size, smallness, makes us vulnerable to conflicts of interest and groupthink. To help guard against those conditions, we should be transparent, tolerant of opposing views, and quick to acknowledge errors. Sound advice. I don't know what the plan is. Clearly, I don't have a seat around cabinet or anywhere else in the government. I just hope that decisions will be made that will move quickly to try to salvage the reputation of the Bahamas in this hot, steaming mess. Deserved or not, we are receiving a serious black eye from this. And we can ill afford to, as Jerome Sawyer said early in the show, be set back the years of work that we have done to present ourselves legitimately in the world of finances, financial sector. And you may argue that the two are not related, but people are going to go all out to say that the Bahamas is tarnished goods. Deserved or not, that is the narrative that is already being put out there by many in the international community, including some of those congressmen in that hearing today. I think we need to be transparent, we need to be decisive, and we need to get ahead of this. I just have a feeling that the worst is yet to come. And I just hope that the powers that be do their jobs, put down the politics, and uplift the Bahamas first, because we cannot afford to go down the road of yet another scandal that will significantly damage the reputation of this country. That's my 5 cents. Got to get out of here. Tomorrow's Wellness Wednesday. We're going to be talking about another issue of matters to your health and wellness, so be sure to tune in then. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Oh boy. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Global